If you are not brave enough, do not take this bus. What is the scariest thing? This is a story that happened in a province in Japan. A high school in a rural area is organizing a study program in the Chonabad area. All students, including a 5A class teacher, had to gather in front of the school since the sun had not risen. The schedule to leave the school was at 4 a.m., to go to the homestay at 7 a.m. Saito, a bus driver at the school bus stop, was already waiting for the bus. Teacher Yamauchi now stood and watched the students struggling to get on the bus one by one. 33, 34, 35, everyone was there. Now was the last to get on the bus after the number of students had been completed. Saito-san, you can get out of the bus. Yes, sir. A 20-year-old driver approached the 30-year-old teacher without turning his face to look. He just looked through the rear-view mirror and bent down to press the phone to turn on the navigation system. The 40-seater bus moved slowly in the middle of the darkness of the traffic, before slowly accelerating to the standard level. The students pulled their blankets to cover themselves to sleep. But after less than 30 minutes, the bus hit the toll road. The road where the teacher drove was a pothole, causing the bus to hit the toll road. The students were shocked and woke up. Those who were still asleep without falling off the seat were stuck with the window and had to wake up as soon as possible. "Why is the road so bumpy?" One student shouted. "Oh, I can't look at my phone. I'm dizzy. I can't play card games. It's all over the place. What should I do? It won't be long before I get there. And how about this?" One of the students spoke loudly as if to announce to everyone in the bus. "How's the horror story? Who told the scariest story?" "Yeah, it's interesting. But I don't know any horror stories. It's okay. If you want to tell, tell. If you don't want to tell, just listen. Otherwise, cover your ears. It's all right, deal." The first student turned to my teacher. "Sensei, can I burn it? Don't make it too loud." The teacher hurriedly sent it to the students. The student asked who would be the first storyteller. It was Miyajima Chunya who volunteered to be the first. "Miyajima Chunya, I'm going to tell a story about Hanako-san." "Oh, let's talk about something else. I've heard this story before." The students in the bus shouted loudly. It's no wonder that Hanako-san of that room is a legendary Japanese horror story. Just by hearing the story, everyone can guess what the story is like, what happens, and how it ends. So has anyone ever heard of the story of Hachishaku-sama? Miyajima stood with his eyes open everywhere he sat. His right hand clenched tightly. He clenched tightly with the person sitting closest to him so that his body would not fall. His left hand quickly helped his body and composed a narrative. This happened to a boy who spent his vacation time visiting his grandmother in Chonburi. Let's call him A-Kung. A-Kung was with his grandfather and grandmother in Chonburi while his father and mother went on a trip to Hokkaido. A-Kung spent his days playing in the mountains, catching insects, playing in the water, fishing. One day, while A-Kung was playing alone in his house, he met a woman walking around outside the house. Because the house was blocked, he only saw a wide-eared hat and a head from his eyes. "Is it beautiful?" Suzuki asked. A-Kung couldn't notice that. He had something more to say. The hat was 2 meters high, but the woman's head was floating up. Second, this woman made a low voice like a man. She kept saying po-po-po. When she walked to the roof of the house, A-Kung saw that she was really tall. She was wearing a white dress. She stopped there and looked at A-Kung. Their eyes met. That woman with a wide smile walked out of the house. What's next? A-Kung was still a little stunned, but for a moment he thought. She was just a tall woman living in the village. When they had dinner together, he told his grandfather and grandmother. At first, the two of them were fine, but when they heard the whole story, they were shocked. "Why? When did you meet that woman? Are you sure that what you told me is true?" Chunya cut out the old man's voice. To play the role of the grandfather, everyone in the car sat quietly and listened to the story with excitement. When he was sure what woman Akung had met, his grandmother was so scared that she had to pray. The old man was still shaking. His mouth said, "Haji Chakusama." "Haji Chakusama? What is it?" "You asked like Akung Kuroda. Haji Chakusama is the name. It means a woman who is 8 feet tall. Haji means 8. Chaku means the ancient Japanese temple. One chaku is about 1 foot or 30 centimeters long. It was a demon who created a curse for that village, appeared in many forms. Sometimes it was a woman, sometimes it was a monk, sometimes it was a boy, but it still has 3 forms. 1. Height up to 240 centimeters. 2. The clothes he wore were all white. 3. He always said the word Po with a low voice. Akung's grandfather told him that, and hurriedly called the monk and the village headman. The village headman's car arrived first. The monk followed later. He said that at the same time. Haji Chakusama was possessed by all 4 Jisos, and it's a dark area. But it looks like there's a broken statue, and make it fall out. The one who was possessed was abducted by Haji Chakusama and never came back again. They have to protect Akung from that. After that, everyone took Akung to the storage room on the 2nd floor. Grandmother prepared snacks for him. Grandfather and the village headman put 4 small plates of salt on the corner of the room. The monk took a piece of paper made of animal skin for Akung. "Keep it, don't let it get away." The monk clenched his fist. Haji Chakusama likes to play with children, because the child must rely on the elders. If he is a relative, the elders can easily deceive the child. So after locking the room, we, including your grandfather and grandmother, will stay at the house of the village headman. No matter what happens, no matter who calls, you must not leave the room. We will not return until 7 o'clock in the morning. Until then, as long as you do not open the door, you will be safe. Do you understand? Yes, good. Remember, no matter who calls, do not open the door. Until 7 o'clock in the morning, the elders locked the door firmly, then left the room, locked the door, and left the house. Akung was left alone in the house. At that time, it was 10 o'clock. In 10 hours, he would be out of danger. He tried to close his eyes, but the worry did not let him sleep. "Akung, I'm sorry." As time passed, it was midnight. Suddenly, Akung heard the sound of the window being knocked. At first, he thought it was a stick hitting the window, but when he looked closely, the shadow outside the window had the shape of a person. He tried to open the window, both knocking, and sliding. Because he saw that he could not open it, he decided to walk away. He stopped for a moment to let his friends imagine. For a while, the door of the storage room was knocked. The sound of Akung's eyes calling him to the other side of the door. "Akung, we have to change the plan. You have to run away from this village as soon as possible. Get out of the room quickly." Akung heard that and walked to the door. Did he open it? He would probably open it if he didn't see the salt jar in the corner of the room, which gradually turned black. That made him stop and have time to think that his eyes were the key. So why didn't you knock on the door? Why would you tell him to open the door? He realized that the one on the other side of the door was not Akung, but the demon Hachi Chakusama. Akung stepped back. He sat on the floor with his hands on the wall tightly. His mouth was not missing a word. The sound turned into a voice. Po, po, po. The sound was low. The sound began to come from all around, both the door, the window, the floor, or the wall. Akung was very scared. He wanted to run away from the sound room. But if he went out, he would be taken by Hachi Chakusama. In the end, he only got a shield. In the end, his patience paid off. The clock that set the time to 7 o'clock in the morning was louder. The sound of the door and the sound of po, po, po was gone. Akung's eyes opened the door. The old woman ran to hug him with concern. He pushed Akung down to the ground floor. In front of the house, the monk and the elders were waiting, along with a black-stained van. In the hands of the elders, Akung's bag was held. The monk said that Akung had to hurry out of the village to free himself from the hands of Hachi Chakusama. Akung's parents were already waiting at the airport. They would take Akung to deliver. But there was one condition. During the journey, Akung must not look into the eyes of Hachichaku-sama. We can't see Hachichaku-sama. Only the seer can see. Even so, do not look at all. The monk clenched his fist and sent everyone in the car. Akung sat in the middle with the elders around him. The van drove slowly along the road. For a while, the whole car seemed to be hit by something. It shook a little. Even though I couldn't see it, everyone immediately knew that Hachichaku-sama was chasing. The tall demon ran to the side of the car. His hand was on the back of the car and on the side of the car, his head bent down to the window. The eyes of the two demons looked for the target. Akung, who saw Hachichaku-sama's hand, was also shaking. His eyes quickly pressed his head down and ordered him not to look. The monk began to chant. The chanting became louder and louder. I don't know if it worked, but Hachichaku-sama did not give up his hand from the car. He must have been running on the side of the car, chanting loudly all the way. "Will Akung survive?" Haruka asked. He survived. Akung escaped from the village successfully. After that, he was not rewarded by Hachichaku-sama again, but in exchange for being forbidden to return to the village. Even when his grandfather died, he could not go to the funeral. 10 years later, Akung received a phone call from his grandmother, who was seriously ill with cancer. "It's been more than 10 years since I haven't seen you. Before you die, please come and see me again, and I will be fine." Why? Well, about Hachichaku-sama. Grandma. Does it mean that Hachichaku-sama has not given up on Akung? Yes. Oh, it's scary. Everyone in the car was shouting. Many people started to take off their headphones to absorb the fear. "I'm done talking. Who will continue?" Chunya spoke loudly through the microphone. The person who volunteered to answer the microphone was Takahashi Sota. "Good. If it's a horror story in Chonburi, then I have one. I'm Takahashi Sota. This is the story of a boy who took the opportunity to take a vacation to visit his grandfather's house in Chonburi." "Is it Akung again?" Chunya teased. "I don't think so. This boy has a brother who is a high school student. When he went to visit his grandfather's house, his parents were there too. And he never met Hachichaku-sama. Then it's not Akung. That word can be called a light laugh. It doesn't seem to be good for Sota, because it makes the atmosphere start to look funny, contrary to what should be a horror story. But if the boy didn't show any displeasure, he smiled a little at the corner of his mouth with great confidence that the story he was going to tell was really scary. So let's call him B. B. Kung and his family went on a trip to visit his grandfather's house in Chonburi. After saying hello to the neighbors, B. Kung's parents were talking to his grandparents. The boys were chatting. The mother worked as a helper. The woman went to the kitchen to prepare food. B. Kung followed his brother to fish at the river. At that time, the two knew each other and were friends with the children in the village who had come to play in the river. "Are you from the city?" "Yes, it's the end of the semester, so the two of us came to visit my grandparents." "Oh, that's great. I also want to go to the city." "Don't, it's just a mess. The air is not fresh. I think it's much better to be here." B. Kung's brother spoke and breathed deeply, as if to confirm his own words. "Oh, it's so boring to be here. There's nothing, and there are only trees, rice fields, rivers, and mountains. You can only see insects when you walk. At least there's no danger waiting for you in every corner of the city. The end is probably a bear, right?" "No, it's even scarier." One of the children spoke and turned to his friend. Let the two of them look at each other in a confused way. "What?" "Let's hurry back, or I'll be cold first." One of the children spoke. The other children hurriedly got up and ran down the mountain. "You should hurry back or you'll get sick." One of the children turned back and told the two of them. "What did you find?" "I don't know." He said that and ran down the mountain. The two brothers turned to look at each other, wondering what to do. In the end, they agreed to stay together for a while because no one had fallen into the mountains yet. It's been a long time since they left the mountain. When they got to the foot of the mountain, the birds began to fly back. The sky began to turn red. The two of them walked through the water and carried their sticks. Even though they didn't catch any fish, at least they had fun spending time with nature. For those who have lived in the city for a long time, everything that is urban and natural looks strange. It invites people to find and learn. Even the empty picture of the moon in the cool sunlight still looks beautiful. But while admiring the sunset, the two of them notice something. It's like a shadow that's been buried. The skin is like a leaf that's been swept along the wind, like a flash of light, or the smoke that flows in the air. The shadow is floating near the eyelid, almost in the middle of the forehead. Is it a ghost? Ishida, sitting behind the priest, asked. That's right, it might be. It might be more dangerous than the bear that the children are talking about. The two brothers stared in curiosity. The brother tried to avoid the gaze, but the brother was more prepared. He took out the two cameras from the forehead. Oh, brother, give me the stick. Ha ha ha. I'll give it to you later, brother. Oh. The brother lifted the two cameras up and sent them to the shadow in the middle. He stood still for a while. Why? What happened? Suddenly, the brother's brother shivered. The smile disappeared from his face. It turned into a dry mouth. He put his hand down for a while. No, it's called letting go of the arm that fell to the side of the body. It's like the force is more correct. The face that shows the shock to the dry mouth smiled again, but this time the smile looked strange. He began to laugh quietly, until it got louder. It's like he's having fun with something. He let go of the two cameras and started dancing. Dance? Yes, the brother of Bikung started dancing. It was a very strange dance move. His arms and hands swung, sometimes left, sometimes right, sometimes up. He lifted his upper body up. His head shook to the left and right. If the sound of laughter and smiles were cut off on his face, his posture would look like someone who is dancing in the middle of hellfire. What about Bikung? Seeing his brother's posture, Bikung was not afraid to use the two cameras to look at him again. He was shocked and more worried about his brother's posture. Brother, what's wrong with you? Brother, help me, and anyone help me. Bikung's scream made an old man who was walking back home look at him. At first, they thought they were just kidding. But when he saw Bikung's brother's face, he listened to the story and was moved. He rushed to take his brother home quickly. His parents both ran to wake up to see their son's condition. Both are still confused. They can't catch the end of the tree. They don't know what happened to their eldest son. What is this? Is it a pig's fainting? No, this is not the case. Bikung, my nephew, said that the brother of my nephew's two cameras looked strange in the middle of hellfire. Yes, sir. You've been tricked. What's wrong with you, Dad? We don't know what it is either. It usually appears when it's in the middle of hellfire. Looking at it closely, it looks like a shadow of a ghost. People in the village know that. If you see them, you must not look at them. You have to look the other way and go home as soon as possible. There was a person who looked at it until he could see it clearly. The condition is like this. What should we do, Dad? I have to ask the monk for help. Suhei, take the car to the temple next to my dad's village. I'll pick him up. You stay here and watch your nephew. You stay here with your mother, Bikung, at home. Yes, sir. The two father and son were driving in the dark on the dirt road. The owner of the house, Saita Misu, was not suitable for driving on the side road at night, so he had to rely on his son to drive for him. Tan relied on the people in the area to be able to contact him. When the two of them got out of the car, Bikung's grandmother and mother locked the door of the house. All three of Bikung's brothers came to the playroom in a mess. Because they were still in a daze, the grandmother was praying in front of the monks. Pray for the monks or the gods to help Tan's nephew. And the mother was crying non-stop. Why? Why did this happen to my son? Brother. Half an hour later, finally the weight of the people in this house came to an end. When the front door was knocked, the people in the house opened the door. It must be the men who went out to welcome the monks back home. Bikung's grandmother walked out of the storage room to open the door. At the same time, Bikung's father called his wife's phone. Hey, listen. He will take his son out to do some business outside the temple. It will probably be a while before he returns. The monks ordered that until we get there, do not let your son out of the house at all. Something like that is trying to take your son away. Lock the house well. Do you understand? Oh, and there was someone at the door of the house just now, Sato asked. Yes, someone came to knock on the door. But when Bikung's grandmother opened the door, she didn't see anyone. Oh, that's strange. Is it the sound of the wind? Brother, what's wrong with you? The sound of the air conditioner was louder in the playroom, followed by a loud noise. Bikung's brother, who had been lying on the floor all the time, suddenly he got up and ran out the front door of the house. No matter what he kicked or hit. The mouth laughed, and the arms and body were closed all the time. Before anyone could do anything, Bikung's brother ran away in the dark. The mother shouted on the phone, "Tell your husband to know about the tragedy that happened." The father almost lost his mind. "I want to come back as soon as possible, but I have to wait for the god of the temple to come back. It's been half a night before I get there." Everyone helped each other find the poor young man. But finding someone in the dark, with only light from the flashlight, is very difficult. In the end, the search was in vain. No one found Bikung's brother? Yes, but I met him in the morning. Bikung's brother was lying in the middle of the field, in the area where he saw the strange shadow that made him look like this. His appearance was very sad. A smiley face, a crooked face, a gay face, and the upper body was all detached from each other. Fingertips, wrists, ankles, shoulders, back, and neck. It looks like he's twisting his arms and shaking them hard until the bones fall off. He was lying dead in the middle of the field like that. Oh, but do you know what makes everyone so excited? Shota made a signal that his story was not over. The point where Bikung's brother was lying dead. He was lying dead in the middle of the field. A skeleton. A skeleton? Everyone in the car said the same thing. Yes, the broken skeleton. It was stuck to the ground around Bikung's brother's body. The wooden bar in the middle of the skeleton's arm was broken and fell off. It made all the skeletons look like they were leaning on each other. While everyone was looking at his dead body, the strong wind blew through the field. Do you know what the picture you see there shows? All the skeletons that were blown by the wind. The arms of the long-armed shirt followed the wind. Up, down, left, right. The skeleton's body rotated at the speed of the shirt's arm. The skull that looked like it was broken also rotated at the same speed. The shape of the body and the way it rotated seemed to be the same as Bikung guessed. Schema means a narrow channel that is narrow or sloppy. Anna means a woman. This happened to a university student who had to move to a room near the university. He got a room on the top floor of the third floor. It was a small room at a cheap price. There was a small kitchen, a bathroom, and a multi-purpose area for a playroom and a shared bedroom. A sliding door closet for storing clothes and other things. After moving in the closet, the table, the people came into the room, and the room was arranged. It must be said that it was a good room. He began his life as a good university student. He had many friends at the university. His friends never caused him any trouble. It was a life that was enviable to some extent. But during the time that Sainsura Ketsara could not live for long, after being in the room for 2 months, the ghost began to feel abnormal. Wait, why don't you name it Shrikung according to the order of the alphabet? Surya is not Y cut up again. I'll let the character in whatever name it chooses. Don't bother when others tell you, go on. Don't pay attention to the Surya at all. Okay, what I would feel abnormal is that he felt like someone was in the room. When he was reading a book, he felt like someone was looking at him from behind. When he was eating, he felt like someone was looking at him from somewhere. At first, he thought he was imagining it, but later he could feel it more, which made him sure that he was not alone in the room. He threw a senbei snack that was lying near the bookshelf. Isn't it what he ate himself? He doesn't like to eat senbei snacks. He never buys any snacks in the room. Is it you? At the back of the cabinet, there is a senbei snack bag. The condition of the bag is torn into a straight line. Do you think it's your work? Min no Rikwa looked at everyone. When she saw that no one was eating anything, she continued. Someone brought a snack to eat in his room. I would hurry to check to see if anyone rushed into the room. The door and window were still locked. There was no sign of intrusion. Even so, there was a sign in the room that there was someone else in the room. He checked everyone in the room to find more traces. The more people, the more they found what shouldn't be in their room, whether it's a snack bag, a paper bag wrapped in a blanket. The heaviest is the hairline. The black hairline is longer than 1 inch. Anyway, it's a woman's hairline. At every point he found these things, it was usually a small gap. At the back of the cabinet under the TV stand, it made him confused and worried. The ghost decided to take this story to consult with his friends at the university. Are you drunk and hungry for a woman to enter the room and can't remember yourself? One of his friends asked. I don't drink alcohol and I've never taken anyone to the room, even you guys. I've never invited you. Or will be the owner of the place, and there's no way to do a consultation in someone else's room like that. By the way, Shiki, what do you look like? It's hard to believe. You may not believe what I'm saying. What? It's an urban legend. Have you ever heard of the Anna scheme? Never? The Anna scheme is a ghost or demon that is a woman. It's usually hidden in a gap that no human can get in, such as the back of the cabinet or the cracks in the wall. If she meets a man she likes, she will find a chance to get lost and drag herself to another dimension. Should I say that it's in my room? It's crazy. It's 2017. There's no other reason to explain. Never mind. I'll find a place myself. The ghost must have said one thing right and one thing wrong. He was right that he could find the cause himself, but he was wrong that the Anna scheme was a crazy thing, because it was that night that the ghost met the Anna scheme in person. When he was about to take the table out of the middle, he saw the tip of his thumb coming out of the gap between the table and the wall. At first he thought he was imagining it himself, but that night he felt like someone was peeping at him at the end of his feet. The ghost must have got up and looked at the bookshelf, which is attached to the wall in the direction the end of his feet pointed. The light from the 2 windows helped him see something. And when his eyes began to get used to the darkness, what he saw was a woman. A woman was looking at him. The strange thing is that her body was hidden behind the bookshelf, which is only 1 centimeter away from the wall. Only half of her face was exposed. She was lying on her back. Her yellow eyes were wide open and her eyes did not blink. When she knew that the target was aware, she hid behind the shelf. The ghost must have been so scared that he got up. He wanted to get out of the room, but the problem was that the door was next to the bookshelf. The ghost must have been shaking even though he was sweating all night. He must have felt the figure of Tsukima Onna from his room. Even if he couldn't see it, he hurriedly pressed the phone to contact his friend. Tiki, help me. What is it? Why are you yelling in the middle of the night? It's out. What, a cockroach? Tsukima Onna, it's really in my room. I saw it with my own eyes. Hey, be careful. Don't let it take you for sure. Stay away from anything that is hidden. See you in the morning at the university. It must have been the longest night of the ghost's life. He sat and looked around, always worried that Tsukima Onna would play with him. When the sun rose, he ran out of the room, even though he was still wearing a shirt and shorts. What should I do? That evil ghost really exists. It's in my room. Should I move the room, or should I move the apartment? No, the room is full and there's still a contract. It's a waste of money to move out. Can I stay at your house? No, my sister is staying with me. You said it's a legend, right? And in the legend, is there a way to deal with it? If I remember correctly, at the shrine there seems to be a shrine for ghost protection. I don't know if it will work. Shall we go and see? The four of them decided to go to the shrine. It's a normal Shinto shrine, and there is a shrine maiden who is taking care of it. The ghost protection contract is still on sale. The shrine maiden told the story to the Miko, but it seems that they don't know much. Opposite to the shrine priest, who was shocked to his face, he hurriedly called the shrine maiden to question the story. Until he was sure that what the shrine maiden was experiencing was a real Shikima Onna. The shrine priest told him how to deal with the situation. It must be done so that the room is not left empty. Otherwise, Shikima Onna, it should be able to hide. If there is a crack or a hole that cannot be drilled according to the door or the window, let it be completely closed. I'll put another set of tires on it so it doesn't break. Enough. Oh, charge more money to consult with the security guard as well. Well, the partner and friends took each other back to the room. Everyone helped move the table, cabinet, and shelf to the closest to the wall of the room. The wheel or leg of the table was taken out with the help of the mechanic's tools. Then everyone helped put the tire on the broken spots inside the room, even the small cracks on the floor. Hey, what should I do here? Chicky pointed to the drain in the bathroom. Should I put the tile in a plastic bag, tie it tightly, and put it back in the canister? Try it. Did it work? The mind asked. The ghost was also worried about that. He tried to ask his friends to stay with him that night, but no one wanted to risk it. That night, the ghost would have to be alone as usual. Even if he did what the master had suggested, but the fear and anxiety did not decrease. He sat in the middle of the room trying to stay away from the furniture as much as possible. The light in the room was kept bright. Is the ghost still there? He did not know. The thick fog did not appear to him, even from anywhere that night. The master's advice worked. When anyone can be worried, the tiredness from the confusion that accumulated from yesterday began to show. The ghost began to panic and fell asleep in a sitting position. When did you fall asleep? The ghost must have woken up because of the sound of the phone set up. He hurriedly examined his body. There was nothing wrong. There was nothing strange in the room. The young man was so happy that he screamed. He hurriedly took a shower and dressed up at the university to tell the story of the ghost. He was so happy that he screamed. He hurriedly took a shower and dressed up at the university to tell the story of the ghost. The ghost really worked. The thick fog did not appear to him all night. Maybe he gave up. I don't think so. The ghost can't just come out to haunt you because it's blocked by those ghosts. If one day those ghosts disappear or there is a gap that appears, it may come out again. You'd better find a way out as soon as possible. If you have any other suggestions, I would like to thank you very much. I haven't been able to sleep for 2 nights. If it wasn't because I wanted to tell you this story, I would have skipped class and slept a little longer. The end. The ghost opened his mouth. It seemed to confirm his sleepiness. And at that moment, his friends were shocked to the point that their hair stood up. Their bodies were cold and their faces were pale. Why? Because they saw the yellow eyes of a girl with a pale face staring at them from a gap in the mouth and the neck of the ghost. The end. Oh, the ending is too scary, but it's also scary. Is there anyone else to tell? Minori looked at the next contestant. Everyone was still in a trance. One heart wanted to tell. The other heart wanted to be the listener. When no one spoke first, Minori held a ritual to represent. Yukiko, tell me about the 7 ghost stories of the school, eh? My little girl with short hair was called by her friends. Is it good? Everyone must have heard of this story before. No, the 7 ghost stories are different depending on the location. Your story is our school version, right? Come on, is that so? Yukiko looked at her stairs, which caused them to fall. The second story. In the living room, there was a body showing anatomy. Anatomy is the anatomy of the human body, right? Oh, that's right. There was one. Now, the students who were in the evening class are in a hurry, and they hit the floor with a stick and the body fell down. They were very shocked, and they thought that the body was alive and could move. It became a place to tell the story of the running anatomy. Yukiko was very embarrassed when she was exposed to the secret of the body until it was frozen. She tried to continue, hoping that there would be something that would scare everyone. Then the piano in the music room. The last student who came to practice the piano forgot his cell phone. And the ringtone was Beethoven's song. When she tried to call her own number, the cell phone in the music room was loud. She thought she could play the piano by herself. At the tree behind the school, there was a body lying. The students who sneaked in at night were hit by a stick and fell. The darkness and fear made it look like a dry hand of the body. The bathroom on the inside of the first floor sounded like a scream. The sound was reflected from the water in the pipes on the second and third floors that came together. Before it flowed through the drain, painting, oil painting, handprint. There are many handprints, and there is a story that if you look at the picture at night, you will be pulled into the picture. The handprints in the picture will increase as the number of people trying to get out of there, right? The students' hands were stained with more paint before they left the school. Tiki. That's what happened at the train station, and the story goes on. Hibiki was angry at Yukiko for everything. The girl made a face as if she was going to cry, so her friends had to rush in to comfort her. Hey Ko, you can just sit and listen quietly. Tsubaki Ayaka said that her classmates were naughty. No, we have to fix the misunderstanding. Telling a story like this is not good for both herself and the school, Hibiki replied with a frowning face. Then tell me a story. It's okay, stop. The boy walked to change with the girl in front of him. Hibiki Ko. It's a story about a woman, Wee-san, who works in the city. Oh, why? It must have come from Yuri, which means a woman who loves a woman, in case anyone is wondering. Yi-san, as usual, lives with her parents in a province, but has to move to another province because of work. One day, she received a call from her mother's village that she was dead, so she asked her to come back to organize the funeral. She decided to leave the house to someone else to rent. She kept the necessary property, and some of it was sold. It took a long time before everything was settled. Fortunately, her boyfriend helped her. When she got back to the apartment, she had almost nothing to do. After eating and bathing, she fell asleep. Until the next morning, she still woke up with a dizziness. While getting ready to go to work, she heard the sound of a loud metal creaking from the front door of the apartment. She wondered what the sound was. Looking through the cat's eyes, she didn't see anything unusual. She had to open the door to see. What is it? The red three-wheeled car is as small as a child's car, quite old, parked in front of her room's door. There's no one else around, just this three-wheeled car. She's still confused about whose car it is, where it came from, but she's not free to pay attention. It must be someone's child's car parked on that floor. Thinking like that, she went out to work as usual, coming back from work. The car is still parked in the same place, the same condition, the same position, and it's like there's no movement. She looked at it alternately, looking at the path. On the floor where she was, there was no one else there, and she was alone. So where did this car come from? Come on, she's too tired to ask whose car it is. But when she was about to leave it, she looked confused. So she took that car to the garbage dump, which was on the ground floor in front of the apartment, and went back to her room. When the sun rose in the morning, the sound of metal clanging loudly at the front door of her room as usual. Of course, that kid's three-wheeled car came back to park in front of her room again. This time she started to get scared. It's all about that three-wheeled car coming up to park in front of her room by itself, and when she sees it often, she starts to remember. It's the three-wheeled car that Wai-san's grandmother bought her when she was a kid. It's the car that makes her feel guilty all the time. When she was a kid, she used to follow her grandmother to see the doctor while she was walking through the toy shop. and asked her grandmother to buy her a three-wheeled car because of her love for her grandchild. So he took the money to buy her a car and lied to the whole house that the doctor said he didn't have to give her medicine. But not long after that, he died. The last thing he said to Wai-san was, "The car that my grandmother bought me, take good care of it." After that day, she never rode that car again. She felt guilty. If she didn't ask her grandmother to buy her a three-wheeled car, he would have taken the money to buy medicine. That car was kept in the storage room all the time, until the day she went back to pay the property. She said she took this car with the garbage truck and the food that was about to be sold. And how did it end up in front of her room? The sound of someone driving that car came in. The more she thought, the more scared. But one heart thought that she might think too much. She took it and left it at the garbage truck again. So she went to work. In the evening after work, her father returned to the room. That car was parked in front of the room again, Suzuki guessed. That's right, it was parked in front of her room again. The more she was afraid, the more she ran into the room, without touching that car again. Wai-san called her boyfriend for help. At first he was lazy, but in the end he couldn't stand avoiding us. Wai-san hung up and waited for almost an hour, afraid that her boyfriend would come. "You threw it away, didn't you?" "I don't see it." "Where do you think it is?" "In front, parked in front of the room number." "Are you kidding me?" "It's not true." Wai-san opened the door to see. Her boyfriend was standing in front of the door. He seemed to be in a bad mood. Wai-san looked around. The third car was no longer there. Actually, her boyfriend threw it away, didn't he? He refused. Both of them went down to see where they had thrown the garbage together. But they didn't see anything. The man was in a bad mood. He kept nagging. Wai-san didn't know how to explain this. The only thing she thought of was that someone had thrown it away before she came. Maybe the owner of the apartment. She decided not to think about it again. That night she took a shower, ate, and went to bed as usual. What's next? The sound of a red tricycle was heard in the middle of the night. This time it came from her room. Wai-san got up. She hurriedly looked for the switch. What did she see? That red tricycle. Slowly moved out of the bathroom as if it were being pushed lightly. It stopped right on the path. It was just standing there. It looked scary, as if it was looking at her. How did it get in? Her room was tightly locked. She didn't see it when she took a shower. Or did her grandma put it in her room so that she could keep it well as she had ordered? Oh, I got goosebumps. I don't know. I think it's sadder. Students in the car were discussing. Hibiki quickly raised his hand to stop everyone. Wait. My story isn't over yet. There's a little more. Do you want to hear it? Yes. When did I tell you? Oh, when Wai-san woke up and saw a red tricycle coming out of the bathroom, right? That's it. She was so scared that she couldn't sleep. She called her boyfriend to turn off the engine. What should she do? The red tricycle also pushed to block the path out of the room. She could only sit and stare at it without blinking. It's not a bad sign, but she had to be careful. She didn't know what that car was going to do. The night was so long for her, and that car was just parked there, and it's strange. After staring at it for a long time, the fear began to subside. Old memories came up, memories of her grandmother. From when she was alive to when she died, tears began to fall. She said something gently. "I'm sorry, grandmother, and I'm sorry and thank you very much." Hibiki kept a record of her story. Some people listened and began to be moved. People who have had an experience of being separated from their loved ones began to cry. People who have had an experience of being separated from their loved ones began to cry. When she noticed that many people's emotions began to peak, Hibiki jumped up and closed the end of her story about the red tricycle. Since that day, Wai-san has never been indifferent to money again. In the morning, she took that car to the station, went to a second-hand shop and turned toys into money. When night fell, that car returned to her room miraculously. It became a source of unlimited money for her. Oh, today I'm in a bad mood. The students were shouting, and suddenly the sad story was told in a funny way. Hibiki laughed until her stomach was frozen. She was satisfied with a prankster like him. Oh, the atmosphere is ruined. How can I tell you a scary story? Come on, I'll tell you. I'll fix Yukiko's hand. Ayaka went to steal the microphone from Hibiki's hand. She pretended to slap the other person's head. Who liked to bother other people? She used a giant boy to make a funny face before running back to her seat. Ayaka whispered a signal that everyone listened attentively. When the car was quiet again, Ayaka began to speak quietly. I know that the scary atmosphere that everyone has created has been ruined by a crazy person, but I guarantee that this story will make everyone fall into fear again. I warn you that. This story is similar to a curse. Those who listen to it until the end may encounter the same event in the story. If you don't want to risk it, put your headphones on. Tsubaki Ayaka, a nightmare, is one of the dreams that people are very happy about. It's just a dream. And I woke up in my own bed. This happened to Ms. Keon OL, or office lady, or just an ordinary office lady, who happened to have a nightmare. In that dream, she was standing at a deserted beach. She was standing at the wheel of a train, without even knowing that the train was coming. Why do you have to wait? But apart from waiting for the train, what else do you want me to do at Chanchala or not? In the end, she could only stand and wait. Less than 5 minutes later, a train ran into the station at Chanchala. It's not a regular train. Even its shape looks like a kid's train playing in the playground. The head of the train is the seat of the passenger, ready to wave at her. He is not a person, but a monkey wearing a train driver's uniform. Behind the head of the train, there are 3 seats in a row. It's not a door, because it's just a seat without a backrest. If you get on this train, you will have an unforgettable experience. A loud announcement came out of Chanchala's speaker. The monkey driver looked at her like he was waiting for an answer. Strange, isn't it? Who is waiting for an answer from an ordinary person, not a taxi? Maybe because it's a kid's train, so you don't have to run at the time. Kei-san thinks so. Well, since this is just a dream, let's get on it. So you know what that crazy experience is like. Then she nodded at the monkey's invitation and looked for a vacant seat to sit on. The back seat and the middle seat are already seated. The only seat she can sit on is the front seat next to the head of the train. As she got on the train, she noticed the 2 passengers sitting first. The back seat is a man, and the person sitting in the middle is a woman. Both of them looked sad and emotional, which made her think it was a body or a corpse. Ghost? I think it's a ghost, Jin interrupted. That's one of Kei-san's assumptions. Maybe this is what's scary about the announcement. Kei-san guessed in his mind. The train was slowly moving out. The train track was long and smooth. There was nothing on either side of the track. For a while, the train ran around the tunnel. It was a long, dark tunnel. Along the way, there was a purple light bulb flickering for a while. The atmosphere was like a ghost house train, which was fun. Kei-san was starting to wonder if there was anything that would jump out of the way to trick her, but she felt uncomfortable. The atmosphere around her seemed strange. She turned around and looked back. The other 2 companies were still sitting in the same position. When she turned around, she saw the driver's monkey pick up the microphone and announce, "Next stop, Ikizukuri." "Are you the announcer?" "Yes, the monkey in the dream can speak." "What is Ikizukuri?" Ninori raised her hand and asked. Ayaka didn't answer, but turned to Mr. Nao instead. "It's a way to trade raw fish for sashimi. The chef will trade the fish for a knife to separate the meat from the bones and serve. The fish that has been traded will still be open-mouthed for a while," Mr. Sao explained in a cheeky way. "Yes, it's an exchange." Kei-san heard it and was still confused. She thought that Ikizukuri was the next stop. What is the name of this station? It's so creepy. Some heavy sound fell on the back of the car. Kei-san panicked. She hurriedly turned around to see what was happening. What? 4 people climbed on the ceiling and jumped down to the back seat. They all covered their backs, wearing old brown shirts and wearing monkey masks. On the edge of the kitchen knife, they began to go around the person sitting at the back, which still did not show any symptoms. After that, the scream, the sound of teeth, and the sound of spitting were heard. The man sitting at the back was hit by Ikizukuri. Half of his body was cut and pulled out to be wound on the floor of the car. All organs were cut into pieces, the flesh was extracted from the bones, and the knee was twisted, the face was in pain. But there was no sound of crying. Kei-san couldn't stand that horrible sight. She hurriedly turned her face back and closed her eyes. The sound of spitting would still hurt her mind. Her whole body was shaking. It was a big break before the sound subsided. She tried to gather her strength to look back. The man disappeared. All that was left was bloodstains and the smell of spitting, which was evidence that the horror incident had happened. See, crazy. This is it? The horror experience, you said? No way. This is too cruel. Next station, Kwakluk-Kata. Next station, Kwakluk-Kata. This time, only 2 people jumped down to the middle seat. In their hands, there was a spoon with a small hole at the end. They jumped up to the seat of the woman behind Kei-san. And then, 2 spoons were inserted into the eyes of the woman. She sat still, her mouth open, but no sound came out. The 2 people turned the spoon to smoke the eyes out of her eyes before swallowing the tip of the spoon to remove it. Kei-san almost fainted from stress, fear, and shakiness. Sweat flowed all over her body. The urine almost dripped out of her body. Next, it was the eyes. And of course, it wasn't a fun story. Look at the 2 examples that have passed. This is just a dream. If we wake up, it will disappear. Wake up, hurry up and wake up. Wake up, my body, wake up quickly. Next station, next station, next station, next station, next station. No. A man in a mask jumped down to her seat. 3 people held her arms and legs while the man sat on his lap. In his hand, he held a tool. The sound of the motor working at a higher speed, along with the wind blowing against her face. The tool was the same tool that was attached to the machine. It was getting closer and closer to her face. No, wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! She opened her mouth and spoke from her bed. When she woke up from a dream that she was sleeping in her own room, not on a train that was passing by. She quickly examined her body. Except for the swollen flesh, everything was normal. She laughed out loud. It was all just a dream, even though the smell of blood was still stuck to her nose. She hurried to take a shower and dress up and go to the nearest shrine, to pray for the Lord to protect her. She never dreamed of sleeping again. 1 year passed, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. She forgot about this and lost contact with it. It was just a bad dream, and therefore the reality that was worse than her was that she had to work very hard because her co-workers quit. She had been working as a model for a week until she could barely sleep at the company. One day she felt very tired and decided to take a break. She stretched her back to the desk and closed her eyes to rest her eyes. The next station is Ikizukuri. Next station, Ikizukuri, huh? The next station is Kwaklukta. Next station, Kwaklukta. No. Another dream? No. Wake up, hurry up and wake up. The next station is Nuabad. Next station, Nuabad. No! I don't want to die yet. Wake up, wake up. No, Abo. I told you that I would bring the atmosphere back to tell the story of Seongkwan. Did it work? Ayaka turned to look at Hibiki's face like a man. Thank you very much, Ayaka. I still have something to tell you. I'm worried that because Hibiki didn't do anything, would it be scary if I told you? Hey, so you're sure your choice is scary? Come on, Kyosuke. Okay, I'll tell you a story that you don't dare to walk out alone at night. Yamamoto Kyosuke. I think many people have to walk home alone at night, right? After going on a trip, after a special school, I think there are many people who have to walk alone in a deserted place. Who has ever been? Many students raise their hands to welcome, even now herself. There are many times when she has to stay at work or take an exam alone until late at night, and have to walk home alone in the middle of the night and the side lights are not very bright. That's right, many people have to go home once. For example, Insan, who is also the protagonist of this story. She is a teacher. Kyosuke looked at teacher now. Everyone nodded lightly. Since she is a primary school teacher, she often has to prepare for work alone. Prepare for exams, make posters, study documents. Normally, Ensan will return to the parking lot by subway, but when she is very late until the train stops running, she has to make an appointment to return. Is it far? It's quite far. If you walk, it takes about an hour. It's still far. Yes, it's far, it's dark, it's boring. If it was in the past, walking home like this was boring and very tiring. But because we have smartphones now, walk, play with your phone, watch movies, read novels. Just a moment. On the night of the incident, Ensan acted normally, walking home by phone alone. While reading the blog, Ensan felt that someone was following her. The sound of footsteps was several steps away from her. She turned her back and looked at her instinct, a man in the shape of a high school student, wearing shorts and shorts. Ensan had never seen this person before, but she didn't care much. She thought it was someone who came out for some reason. She turned around and walked out normally. That man was walking in the same direction as her. The sound of their footsteps and hers were alternating in the dark. I don't know if I'm imagining things, but Ensan noticed that the sound of footsteps on the other side began to gradually overlap with the sound of her footsteps. The sound of the footsteps of the two people became the same. They walked down the stairs together like soldiers walking on the battlefield. Is it a coincidence? No, because Ensan tried to change the speed of her steps, but that man changed the speed of his footsteps. She ran, he ran, she ran, he ran. It seemed like he was trying to keep up with her speed. Are you kidding me? What's up, Ensan? Oh, sensei. Kyosuke turned around and asked, oh, the teacher was in a hurry. Don't. Ensan is not a teacher. Ha ha ha, I'm sorry, I'm kidding. Kyosuke turned back to tell the story of himself. At first, Ensan thought so. They must be ordinary teenagers. But the sound of their footsteps kept getting closer. That made Ensan very uncomfortable. She stopped and hid by the wayside. That man also stopped his feet. He waited for her to start walking so that he could walk with her, and that man kept getting closer and closer until he stood next to Ensan. She has a chance to see him clearly now. He's just an ordinary guy. There's nothing wrong with him. He must be a prankster, because he looked at her and smiled. As she walked, he followed her. Maybe because he was taller than her and one of his legs was longer than the other. That's why he could walk faster. While they were walking together, from standing next to each other, they started to walk forward little by little. The man turned around and smiled. He started to slow down, as if he was challenging. Ensan was too tired to get involved in this crazy challenge. She kept walking at her own pace. The man didn't give up. He lowered his legs and stood next to Ensan again. They started to walk together. In the meantime, he said, slow down all the way. Tiredness from work and walking made Ensan get more and more worried. She said that she was back many times, but that man kept smiling and nodding her all the way. Stop messing with me, you son of a bitch. She was tired, slow, and short legs. Finally, Ensan lost her patience. If the other party wanted to compete, she would play this crazy game too. Ensan started to increase the length of her legs, and when they walked together like this, she started to lead. But the man also increased the length of his legs until he led. The length of the legs was the point that made her lose her balance. She probably pretended not to see. but her ego rose so high that it was dark. Ensan changed from a long step to a jump. This worked. She kept leading him. It seemed that the man would not use this method on her. He would still follow her. And when Ensan stopped breathing, he stopped following her. This must be the rule that he set, that he had to walk with the competitor only. Now she is leading him about 4 to 5 steps. If it continues like this, she will not lose for sure. Ensan looked ahead. In a few more steps, she would reach the main road, where there were more people. At that point, she would stop playing this crazy game and let the lost teenager be defeated all the time. Ensan gathered his strength and jumped again. I told you that Ensan was leading him about 4 to 5 steps, but now they are back together again, and the man's legs were not standing next to her. Notice that I only talk about the legs. That's because what Ensan saw was only the legs. The legs were longer than the average human leg. Everyone was able to get out of the mountain at the same time. Enzangi cried out loud. She hurriedly ran out to the main road and called the taxi that was parked there to hurry to the apartment. "Can you make it? Do you want to make it?" Kyosuke asked back. Ahem. She made it. When she got in the car, the ghost didn't follow her anymore, but that night, when she turned off the light and went to bed, Enzang saw a shadow outside the window. How could it be? Her room was on the 5th floor. There was no balcony. Who would it be? Or what? Of course, the first thing Enzang thought of was that ghost. It reached out to open the window of her room and stuck its long arm through its leg into the room. Its eyes were focused on Enzang. She hurriedly stepped out of its reach. She sat crouched in the corner of the room, trying to be as small as possible, to be as safe as possible. Her eyes couldn't stop crying. The ghost tried to catch her, but it turned into an obstacle. "Let's race again. Let's race fair and square. Don't sit still," it said as it tried to catch Enzang. The poor teacher was struggling with the fear alone. It was almost dawn before the ghost would move back. Enzang tried to wake up, looking to make sure that the ghost was really gone. She hurriedly got up and ran out of the room while wearing pajamas and shoes. When she opened the door and came out of the room, "Let's race again. Let's start at the same time this time." The ghost was waiting for her in front of the room. The end. Oh, hey now, the teacher has passed out. Are you okay? The students came in to see how the teacher was doing. I'm not used to these things. Are you afraid of ghosts? Yes. When I was a kid, I used to hear about a horror story that was so scary that it became a wound in my heart since that day. Tell us about the horror story. Ito was struggling. No, it's better not. It's very scary. I'm sorry, Sensei. Saito, a car driver, spoke up after being silent all the way. Is the story you heard about a ghost story? A ghost story? I don't think so. Saito was a little disappointed and concentrated on driving. Tell us. Try again. We may feel that it's not scary anymore. Right, guys? Ito turned to the crowd. Everyone agreed and cheered. In the end, when he lost his willpower, Nao remembered to tell the story he had heard since he was a kid. Okay, but if it's too scary, I don't want to know. Yamauchi, now, the story of a ghost story. This is a story that the teacher's grandfather told me when he was still a kid, about 10 years old. At that time, the teacher's house was still far from the school. Each house was quite far away. The road was wet. There was no electricity pole like this, and he said that when he went anywhere at night, he still had to use a lantern. It's been a long time. At that time, there were not many people in the village. There was only one police station. There was only one police officer who was always around at the age of a government official. Most of the people in the village were farmers. Some people opened a grocery store. You probably can imagine that different people have different occupations according to the story. But it's true that everyone has an occupation. There are still some people who live day to day. Don't do anything too much either. In the village, there are people who everyone knows well as a drunkard. Every day he will walk drunk on the street, laugh like crazy alone sometimes, sing in a hoarse voice sometimes Sometimes he sleeps on the sidewalk. In his hand, he will hold a large bottle of sake all the time. Everyone in the village is different, but no one does anything to him because he never caused trouble to anyone. When the village held a festival, he went to sing and make music, walk around and eat for free. He tried to bring alcohol to give to others at the festival, but no one wanted to raise his voice with him. He just stayed at his place and didn't care about anything. It was like that until one day. A new police officer came to the village regularly. Let's call him Mr. First. His face is named after the students. Mr. I is a new police officer. On the first day when he came, he greeted everyone in the village, except for the drunkard. He can't help but wonder why this old man is so drunk every day. Don't you have a wife and children? Where do you stay, or what do you do? In the past, he was like you. Come and drink with me, police officer. I'm good at drinking. Every time I asked that man, he always gave me this answer. I asked the villagers, but they didn't have the same answer. Some said that he was addicted to alcohol because he was sad that his son died. Some said that his wife left him and was sad, so he was addicted to alcohol. Or vice versa, he was addicted to alcohol until his wife left him. Mr. I's doubts increased every day, until finally Mr. I took the drunkard to the police station in the village to question him. Why should the police care about those things? It's better to drink alcohol. What is alcohol? More important than life? More important than family? I don't think so. Try it, just a little bit, officer. The drunkard handed the bottle to Mr. First. He poured it into a glass of water to check the origin. Strangely, the color of the alcohol was clear gold. It looked like tea, but it was gold that it could almost shine. The smell had a strange swaying power. He couldn't take his eyes off the clear glass of alcohol. The desire to drink increased all the more. What kind of alcohol, Uncle? Good stuff. He then raised the bottle of alcohol up and drank it for the police officers to see. The desire to drink was the same. I saw that picture in front of me. Who can resist it? Mr. I raised the glass up and nodded like he was praying. It tasted different from anything he had ever eaten or drunk in his life. Mr. I never drank sake. Even the food he used to eat sake was not edible. But with this glass of sake, it was strangely different. Instead of being disgusted, Mr. I was lost in its taste. What the hell is this taste, isn't it? This is not ordinary liquor. Where did you buy it from? I didn't buy it. I got it from yokai. From who? Yokai? What? Young people these days don't know who yokai is? You're drunk and talking nonsense. Hyakiyako is a 100-year-old festival. Every year on a hot summer night, hundreds of people come out to celebrate along the road. After passing through the village to the outskirts of the village, the yokai will hold a drinking party. Mr. I brought sake from there. Hey, let's take a break for Mr. I to come up and talk. I'm serious. Do you think humans have the ability to do this? I don't know. The drunk man put a glass of liquor in his mouth for Aisang to drink again. The young police officer hurried to drink, as if he was afraid that if he waited too long, he would disappear. Drinking the second glass increased suspicion and distrust. The man asked if he was right. If humans could make such a great liquor, they would have been famous and rich by now. But believe me, anyone is right. Let's prove it, police officers. On the night of the 9th, they will meet again. If the police officer wants to join in, wait for me here, I'll come to you. Of course, Aisang still didn't believe half of it, but the man in front of him was very worried. The night passed, but the taste was still stuck in his mouth and wouldn't go away. The more he counted the days, the more he missed it. It was the 9th day. Aisang didn't go out to check his eyes at night as usual. He sat and waited for the drunk man in the police station. That night was a quiet and unbelievable dark night. Aisang tried to look out the window to see the road. Strangely, the road was completely dark. No one turned on the light or turned on the light at all. The front door was closed. Aisang began to feel anxious. It was like the whole world was overshadowed by darkness, like the closed ears and closed eyes were unable to perceive anything. Aisang hurried back to hide in the police station quickly. The psychic told him that the outside world in the village was now very dangerous and dangerous. Time passed for minutes, hours. It was almost 2 o'clock. The drunk man came to the promise. Today he looked less drunk than usual, but he still showed some signs. "Come on, officer, it won't be long." "Where are you taking me?" "Go to the ghost gate on the outskirts of the village." "Hurry in, they're almost there." The drunk man walked the way to Aisang in the dark. There was only one light. The mother was not drunk yet, but the determination made the psychic run in a straight line along the dark road. The couple ran to the outskirts of the village. The dirt road was long in the dark. It looked deep enough and scary. Let the feeling that something could come out. The drunk man pulled Aisang to hide in the alley on the side, trying to bend as low as possible. Not long after, Aisang heard a loud sound coming from the northern sky. It was the sound of an ancient musical instrument, a drum, a pin, a shamisen, and a flute. The sound was getting louder and louder. The white spirit appeared one by one, followed by a light from the Tsukumakami light. "Tsukumakami." "What is it, master?" Koji raised his hand and asked. "It's that one. The one with the one-eyed ghost." Naoke tried to think of an explanation. Actually, Naoke's flute had been explained to her since she was a child, but because of fear, she didn't listen. She was depressed for a long time. Saito explained instead. Things that have been used and have lived for up to 100 years will turn into a living yokai. The one-eyed ghost is a Tsukumakami, the paper ghost. Yes, that's it. In addition to Tsukumakami, there is also Nekomata. Tenkusuomge Tayao jumped to the ground and hit the tree. The long-necked ghost spat out a long tongue. Vanudo played and played. All of them jumped and danced to the rhythm, laughed. The cold water was as cold as a feather. The ghosts passed through the road into the village in rows. Each of them was scary in its own way. Laughed at himself, lifted his nose. The ghost took off his head from his feet. He hurriedly followed the ghost easily. The ghost took off his clothes from his hideout and walked slowly along the forest trail. The ghost walked through the village to the southwest and stopped at the area that used to be an old commune. The yokai leader sat down and put a big bowl of water next to his body. The yokai leader poured out a cup of liquor so that the yokai leader would drink the golden liquor from the bowl. The yokai leader drank the golden liquor from the bowl. That's it. Lord Nurarihien, the leader of the yokai. The liquor that I drank came from him. Come on, it's all gone. Let's go in and ask. It's all right, uncle. Believe me. Follow me. Slowly. Don't look into the eyes of other yokai, especially those who like to fight. The drunk uncle whispered in his ear and slowly took him to the yokai leader. The uncle felt that his eyes were not friendly and looked at both of them at the same point. The sound of the yoke turned into the sound of a drum in the throat, the sound of laughter that hit the back of the neck. The uncle wanted to run away from there as soon as possible. But when the leader came, he still walked forward. He didn't dare turn around and go back alone. Nurarihien turned to look at the two humans who had just entered the 100 Demons Festival. Their faces didn't change at all. You again, you come every year. Heh, your curry is really delicious. You're so brave to come all the way to the 100 Demons Festival. Then who is that? Oh, the one who's interested in your business. I brought him with me. You're so lucky. Humans who have experienced the yokai can only be counted by a finger. Oh, show me your bottle. Here you are. The drunk uncle carried the bottle he brought with him. The golden soda was poured from the tap into the bottle. Aisang looked at it with his eyes and was surprised that the amount of liquor poured was more than the bottle could hold. I got this bottle from Nura Rihayen. It can hold more liquor than I see. Enough to drink for a whole year. Oh, why don't you send me a bottle of liquor? I don't have a bottle of liquor. Oh, then share it with your human friend. And the two of them sat drinking in the vicinity of the demons. The atmosphere of the party was back again. It was something that was difficult to describe. The story was included in the book of the legend of the ghost speaker. The party went on for almost an hour. The first bottle of liquor came to Isam. His eyes looked up at the mountain. A long yellow tongue came out of his mouth. I think I got it. That's right. Nura Rihayen must have absorbed it. What? Do you think we're kind enough to give it to a human like you? Everything has to be exchanged. The ghost speaker made a deal with us. In exchange for this liquor, he will have to bring a human to be his slave. In the Yaku festival. What do you mean? Don't, Isang cried out loud. He was beaten up by all the demons to eat as a drink. The drunk man who was watching the situation didn't even think about helping him. He laughed happily that he had succeeded. Thun, I shared the liquor with that guy. Until the liquor was empty. Can you fill it up as usual? Just to get a drink, you're willing to trick a human friend to give up his life. You're a man with an evil mind like yokai. In order to get such a delicious drink, no matter how many people are missing, I'm willing to do it. The drunk man smiled as if he didn't know what he was doing. He just thought that the festival should trick someone to be his slave. It's over. Both cars were quiet. There was no reaction at all. Now started to be embarrassed and complained that the story was too scary, that everyone didn't know what to do. Is it too scary? Sensei, it's not a horror story.